your future self sent all this back to you so you could get laid.
I know, right? I never would have said anything like that. The app is awesome.
You're an asshole.
Your short first, they filmed from Canada. Obviously, you saw some Toronto kind of atmosphere and exterior to it. People seem to be excited about that.
I think Short Burst is the best film for me throughout the whole festival. Immediately as it started, it explained what the whole point of the film was. It's a nap. It had the whole beginning, middle, ending. It was beautiful. And it made me even think, what would I do if I had the app? Would I be an asshole if I was the first person? Or would I be okay with different versions of myself having a better life? I really love it. It was relatable. I think it was the best.
The biggest laugh of the night was seeing multiple killings of the same person.
Initially, I thought the idea is the central conceit with a lot of time travel movies is what happens if you send something back into the past. You delete your past self. And I thought, this is awesome. This guy's deleting himself in the future just to get laid or miss traffic. That's fascinating. The idea that I have no attachment to my existence. I'm going to allow somebody else to live my life. And then they took a hard right and said, nope, these guys all exist in this universe and they're all just 15 minutes behind each other occupying Toronto.
Famous sci-fi character said, you got to think fourth dimensionally.
Yeah, this movie was pretty interesting in terms of, you have the standard whole, what would you do if you sent something back to your past self? But then the little twist is like, oh, mental health. Like every human being has that aspect of them. How would that play a role in this whole dynamic? And you're gonna see how that plays out. The first one is depressed. The second one is like less depressed. And it gets like happier and happier. And the first one is like, oh, let me kill everybody. And then he just says that. So it was a good twist.
I also really enjoyed the film, but I thought it was going to take a different turn. So at first, when they introduced the whole app and the changing your past, I guess, to change other versions of yourselves, I thought what I was predicting was going to happen in the movie was that the original Chad was going to succumb to a fatal death, and then that would sort of stop the messages coming from the future. But it was interesting to see how actually it was the complete opposite that happened, where it wasn't the past or like the later Chads having to deal with the death of a future Chad because of different circumstances, but it was actually the opposite, where the future or the original Chad has to deal with like killing off his later selves. So I thought that was pretty cool.
What really nailed it for this one was that I was thinking this would stand up even if it wasn't a film. Like if it was just a short story, it would make a great story, and it had a surprising twist. Like you couldn't predict it. The earlier ones were more predictable. So yeah, I think this I really liked the twist. And if you think about it in any other medium, it would have still been a great story.
Take the highway this morning. Trust me, you're going to avoid a lot of headaches.
Take the highway. It's always jammed, but whatever you say.
Yeah, this film was really strong. A very charismatic lead. It was funny. It wasn't just depressing. And that they say that every time travel story had been done, but this one was actually pretty unique. So I thought that was really great to see.
No special effects, just kind of a plain story that kind of, the sci-fi is our imagination, or the imagination of the viewer.